It is wellness, and with me tonight is Jamie Dorley, CEO and owner of Nutritional Frontiers, and also Joe Messino. We like to call him the Godfather. I am Tracy Straub, and I'm so excited to be here tonight. And this entire month focus, Jamie, is about GI health, gut health, and how it all begins in the digestive system. So welcome, guys. Thanks for being here.
Good evening, Dr. Tracy, and good evening, Godfather. I kissed the ring, but I don't want to get Tracy jealous. She's not in the room here with us tonight. So it's not only the Godfather of nutrition, but the Godfather of anything. So
yes. Yeah.
Welcome back. He's also the manager of the Wine and Wellness Center and World of Wellness right here in Pittsburgh, PA, doing an incredible job. So thanks so much for having me on. I feel like an honored guest tonight, so thank you.
Well, we have a big weekend coming up, and I think our GI systems will be tested with our many team events and also our after view party at View 412 after our professional training event. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that, Jamie? What's going on this weekend in Pittsburgh, PA?
Well, I love this topic because the old naturopath would always say health, wealth, and death begins in a colon and GI tract. And, you know, so many things, especially these days with the immune system, so many people, even at the bodybuilding show I was at last weekend, I was running into Teresa and Gary, and there was a couple people right there, you know, and they're in great shape complaining of bloating and GI pain and, you know, gas and so many different things. And I think it's just a great topic and great timing. Spring cleaning is right here. So before we get into that, of course, we have a huge event this weekend. This is our professional training event, Breaking the Contagion Myth. And now more than ever, this is vital for our community and our country. I was doing some research today on it. And it's a fascinating topic. There's so many different experts out there, but we get an opportunity to learn from the experts, including Robert Scott Bell, making a special guest appearance in Pittsburgh, PA this weekend. So super excited to see him, hear him. He's got such a command of the of his voice, and his knowledge is second to none. And then Dr. Tracy's going to bring it home with the clinical application of what Robert Scott Bell is talking about. And you know, many times I go to comedy clubs and I go to concerts and they have these opening acts that they don't even put on the bill, Joe. So if you get there early and you want to see the opening act, I'll warm you up a little bit at 9:30. So this is all right in Pittsburgh, PA. We have a couple seats remaining. It is standing room only. Sure. So really excited about it. And I just was talking to a woman from Florida, and she was saying, "Oh, is it too late to sign up?" I said, "No, you can get the live stream."
Right.
So you can still do live stream. You can still get the recording. You can still come live. So that's this Saturday, April 10th, right here in Pittsburgh, PA. Beautiful location right off the interstate. Easy to park, easy to get in and out. And we do a nice, fun event, too. You learn a lot. The camaraderie is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
You get to share ideas with other like-minded individuals. We break bread together. It's a nice event we put on. We've gotten some great feedback from other people.
Yeah, we've been doing this for years now. Dr. Tracy was one of our very first presenters. I'll never forget the pH workshop and presentation.
She was in the audience before she was a speaker.
I was. The first speaker I saw was Dr. Epitropoulos.
Yeah.
He was the very first one that I saw. He was fantastic.
I
got to see.
It's like in high school, all the troublemakers sit in the back. So she was with Pat.
I sat next to you.
You know that was trouble, yeah. So, but yeah, she was first a guest and then a speaker, and now, you know, all the way after all these years. So It's been a fun process.
You know, and it's great that we're doing these because, you know, we've been doing these live events all through the contagion. Hasn't stopped us, that's for sure.
Hasn't stopped us. Nope.
And now we have the you know, this is great. We got Robert Scott Bell. He's been at our, you know, he's been on our virtual summit before a couple of times, but this guy's just amazing. To see him live is going to be.
I can't wait.
I can't wait.
And one of the things I don't think we talk a lot about at our events is how you meet people. Yeah. I mean, I met you at an event. I met Tracy for the first time at the event, right? So you can meet some fantastic people at these events and share ideas and, you know, share some protocols that are working and share some questions you may have. And it really opens up a lot of dialogue. And I really like it even at the lunch because you can sit with different people and hear some different feedback. And, you know, the feedback we've gotten from a lot of clients that come to these is that's one of the most beneficial and fun parts about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's going to be a great night. Addition to that is we have the epic evening afterwards that we've invited some of our guests to. So if you're in the Pittsburgh area and you have some time after the event and you'd like to come, just let us know at the event, or you can call 412-922-2566 and ask for Kara, and she will get you situated with that as well. We do have limited space with our live signups at the professional training event. I think we're almost at capacity. So there may be 1 or 2 seats left. So if you're interested, please go to nutritionalfrontiers.com and click the events tab, and you're going to sign up for the Contagion Myths, Breaking the Contagion Myths with Robert Scott Bell and myself and the entire Nutritional Frontiers team. You can also join us live stream or live. So guys, I just saw this article, and I wanted to start with this because I don't know if you saw it. It just came out today from The Lancet, and it said 6-month neurological and psychiatric outcomes in 236,000 survivors of COVID-19, a retrospective cohort study using electronic health records. And what they found was within 6 months, the inflammation in the brain and the digestive disruption created psychiatric conditions, diagnosable anxiety, mood disorders, all the way to schizophrenia. So when we say all health begins in the gut, it really does, because there is a connection with the gut and brain.
Yeah, I didn't see the Lancet article, but when I was doing some research today about what are the top 10 conditions that we are facing right now in the U.S., number 1 was COVID, and number 2 is mental illness. So exactly what your research is supporting. We predicted this a long time ago when we had a brainstorming and roundtable on our team when COVID first hit. We all sat there and we got the whiteboard out. We said, okay, what are some of the things we're going to be concerned with? The immune was easy. Everyone knew that.
Right.
But when we started talking about mental illness, right, having the social distancing and quarantining and really the isolation, and you don't realize, or at least we don't, how much you miss social interaction, right? Going to the gym, going to church, going to schools, going with a friend to get a cup of coffee or a smoothie. Just that social interaction. I think a lot of people didn't realize the impact that was going to have on the masses, right? 236,000 people we're looking at in this study. And it's exactly what we talked about 15 months ago when this first kicked in, because you can't take people. We looked at all types of studies, including people in prisons, right? And people in concentration camps. And they said the ones that were in isolation,
right,
that is the number 1 thing you can do to destroy the soul, is when you put someone in isolation. So you compound these with illness, right? Not getting fresh air, not interacting with people. I see people going through the window to see loved ones. I mean, it's just insane, some of the things you see. And look, I respect everyone's opinion. However, at some point you have to move forward. You have to have a strategy in place, because there is a connection. 70% of your immune system is in your intestinal tract. We know from research 10 years ago, working with Dr. Weiner and Dr. Bland, he's the father of functional medicine, and he presented research showing that all the brain chemicals, in particular dopamine and serotonin, they're very limited in the brain. Most of them are in the gut.
95%.
Yeah, in the gut. So when people have anxiety, have depression, have different mood disorders, right? You got to look at the intestinal tract and the old gut feeling about somebody. Mm-hmm. There's a lot to that. So I'm glad that the research is finally coming out on a lot of these things. It supports exactly what we were talking about 15 months ago. And I did a presentation for a well-known chemist I was looking at the other day. This is going back about 8 years, looking at the brain-gut connection. So this is nothing new, Joe.
No, it's nothing new. And I think you also have 2 ends of the spectrum on that study of 236,000 people. I mean, as you mentioned, just normal people are suffering psychologically from the isolation. What about someone that's in...
Are you insinuating we're normal? You looked at me. That's like...
Normal as it gets.
Okay,
as normal as it gets.
Okay.
But what about the people that are in abusive homes? Kids and spouses. Now that magnified that situation tenfold, probably, maybe more, 100-fold. So you have just, normal people suffering an unusual amount of anxiety. Then you have people that already had anxiety that have it magnified. So yeah, this is something I think they got to look at for a long time.
Yeah, and I think when we got into those situations of stress and isolation and fear, it caused more issues. Whether it was nutrient assimilation, people either overate or they weren't eating enough. And, worry, it creates a lot of conditions with gut health. So tonight we're going to talk about some NF solutions that you can utilize to help restore your digestive integrity, additionally to help support the brain, because it is connected. Like Jamie was saying, we knew this for such a long time, and now the research is starting to support it. So where do we want to start? Which formula? So we have GI Complete that we're talking about this evening. We're going to talk about our probiotic suite of formulations. So we have just so much good things to talk about.
Yeah, there's so many different formulations. I always start with the base of the Great Pyramid of Health that you and Candace created for Nutritional Frontiers. And I always go back to the original. You never forget your first love, right, Joe? So our first love in Nutritional
Joe's
Frontiers.
like, who?
Which one? There's a lot of formulas he's come out with over the years. So if we go back to the original one, that's Probezyme. So if you think about all the formulas we've come out with over the years, our first formulation Joe helped create was our Probezyme. And the reason we did that, we were looking at something very unique. And so many people were suffering from heartburn and reflux at the original pain release clinic. That's how long ago it was. And the doctors of chiropractic there would do a hiatal hernia adjustment because so many people were coming in where they were having severe burning and discomfort in the intestinal tract. And they were on all these different purple pills, Prevacid, Nexium, even over-the-counters like Tums, right, Omeprazole. So all these different medications they were on, a lot of these used to be prescription and now over the counter. So I always like to start with Probezyme. I realize I have them in my bag now. I've been taking them more than ever lately. And I even like to take Probezyme anytime. So Probezyme is a unique combination of probiotics and digestive enzyme in a chewable wafer. It's dairy-free, gluten-free, and vegetarian. It's suitable for kids or adults. And the question that I usually get is, can you combine probiotics and enzymes? Absolutely. There's enzymes and probiotics in food. There's enzymes in your mouth, in your intestinal tract. So this has been one of our top formulas from day one. It works quick and fast for acute relief of anybody who's bloated, has heartburn, reflux, indigestion. My kids know, like when they still call it a belly ache, the tummy ache, they go for the Probezyme. Sure. We're on vacation, you're eating foods maybe you don't eat all the time, you go out to eat, you're eating some desserts and stuff, they always want Probezyme. So I love it because it's fantastic for anybody of all ages. You can give it to an infant, you can give it to a kid, you can give it to an adult. It works for everyone, and you can use it every day, and you can use it as you need it.
Sure you can. It's portable travel as well. We have the sample sizes that if you are going on a short trip or you're just going to be away from home, it's easy to carry with you. It's just so versatile. And I love that comment, Jamie, about enzymes and probiotics. I've had doctors say that to me over the years. Oh, the enzymes go. I said, well, I just asked them a simple question. Before we had probiotics and digestive enzymes in supplement form, how did people get them? Through food, especially fermented foods, right? So that's how you're getting them, through food. Your body's designed to do that. It's not going to see it as something foreign or
Plus, we got a 60-page research report at Nutritional Frontiers that all of our probiotics survive digestive enzymes, bile, and stomach acids.
Right.
They actually get somewhere in the intestinal tract and actually do something. In the chewable form, we use a spore former, Bacillus coagulans.
Right.
Why is that, Joe?
Well, because this is one of the truest forms. It's soil-based, and it can get through much of the stomach acid because of its being so natural to us and to the earth. Okay, and Tracy and I were talking about soil-based probiotics on a radio show earlier this week, and I think a lot of people don't understand the difference. So, Tracy, why don't you expand on that?
Yes, soil-based probiotics are basically what plants use to help convert minerals. So they're really in the dirt. They're healthy for us. They get on our skin. So we should go out and play in the dirt. We usually get a good amount of them by eating fruits and vegetables. But a lot of the most common ones are like Bacillus coagulans or Bacillus subtilis. We know those as bully probiotics, so they really drive other probiotics in. So they're important to have in formulations. For me personally, I'm not a fan of taking a soil-based probiotic on its own. I like to see it in combination with other, probiotics so that it does the job. I don't think we're plants, so we shouldn't just take those. But I do believe that they actually help, get the probiotics into the digestive system. So I do love them. I know we use some in our formulations. It really helps, drive those other formulation or those other strains in. So it's really necessary. But
yeah, the other important key thing with the Probzyme is that it's a chewable. So if you have acute heartburn or reflux and you take a capsule or a tablet, it's going to go right past where the issue's going on. So this starts working right away with the digestive enzyme in the saliva.
Right.
It's going to help any acute issues going on from the mouth all the way down. Maybe you have some candida or thrush in your mouth at the early stage. People with inflammation of their gums or teeth, right? Any who has inflammation in the esophagus or upper GI. So it starts working right away. It's a fantastic formula. You had mentioned it comes in the travel size. We have 3 different flavors. We all know my favorite flavor. Just like fruit stripe gum, it's grape. What about you?
I got to lean towards grape too for a different reason, but yes.
Well,
grape.
we know Tracy won't agree. So what's your favorite?
no, I like grape. I like the grape.
Oh my God!
3 for 3. So
Well,
yeah.
we have cherry and fruit punch if anyone doesn't like grape. So.
And I think the tropical's good too, but it's just I like grape. I grew up on Bubblicious gum. It was the flavor, Hubba Bubba. But the other thing we were talking about on the radio show, Joe, was oral health and masks. And what they're finding in the latest studies is that cardiovascular disease and the vascular plaquing that happens is actually due to a bacterial overgrowth in the gums. And most people think cardiovascular disease is because you have a really bad diet. Well, it is because you're breaking down the probiotic integrity inside your mouth. Also, wearing masks is going to further damage that. So Probzyme is great, and we talked about this on the radio, to give to your kids, put it in their lunchbox, give them one before school, give them one after school, just to help reestablish that probiotic flora in their mouth and protect not only their teeth and their immune system, but also their cardiovascular health. Because remember, every vessel can get plaqued, including vessels to kidneys and organs. So it's really important that we take these steps, just to prevent disease as we grow older. So good stuff. Probzyme.
Positive side effects of the reducing inflammation and infections and bacteria in the mouth and gums.
Right. Not to mention the enzymes that most kids need and adults to help them assimilate their food.
Yeah, nice thing, like I said earlier, is that you can take this anytime.
Right, anytime.
You take 1 or 2. If you're going out to dinner, if you're going to have a little bigger meal than you normally do, especially around party time, like Super Bowl, I'll take 2 or 3 before, and then a couple at halftime. So you could take them as you need them to get that acute relief. So you don't have to have any symptoms. But I think if you start taking them, especially between meals, you're going to notice that, my buddy, he's a fitness trainer. He actually would utilize this product for competitors, and he called it ab flat because it flattened out their abdominal wall.
Oh, yeah.
So you feel a little bloated. Just take it and see how you feel. But you will feel over time that the stomach is starting to calm down a little bit, because I think the stress and the overconsumption of processed foods, and even if you're not eating processed foods, just normal digestion takes a tremendous amount of energy. So a very simple way to support that is with Probzyme.
Sure.
So I consider that the foundational digestive aid. And then we have very specific probiotics and enzymes. So let's look at the probiotics. We have the foundation, which is the frontier. We have the therapeutic, which is the super. And then we have the specific strain, which is the SBC. So we can talk about all those individually, because there is overlap. They all are live bacteria. The nice thing with Nutritional Frontiers, we use all PRTs, patented, research, trademarked ingredients. These all are guaranteed till expiration date. They're shelf stable at room temperature, and they've been clinically proven to actually get in the intestinal tract, adhere to the wall, duplicate themselves, regenerate, and grow, and actually have a specific characteristic, each one. And the Frontier is 10 strains, the Super being 12, and the SPC2. So each one has a specific purpose, but you can never go wrong with taking any of them. So why the Frontier?
Frontier is like you said, a foundation probiotic. On a daily basis, we need probiotics. We're eating foods that are filled with antibiotics. There's just so much of it going against you that every single person needs a daily probiotic just to get back to level playing ground. I mean, this isn't for, like you said, it's not therapeutic. It's foundational, and many times that's where people are lacking. Even if you're in good health, you need probiotics on a regular basis.
Yeah, and one of the great things I've heard back from clients about the Frontier is it comes in a family size, the 180 count.
Yeah.
I rarely have seen that. And if you need to go higher dose, it's already there. All you got to do is take more.
Just take
so more, you can do one a day as a multi for your gut. And as needed, you can increase it over time. If you don't need the higher dose, go right back down.
Yeah, and I think that family size thing is very, very important, because these days we've been telling people, you need a bottle of D3 for every member of the family. You need zinc for every member of the family, vitamin C. But probiotics is where it all starts. You need it for every member of the family, not just somebody that's having a digestive issue.
And if the Godfather says you need it for the family,
you need it for every member of the family.
You better listen.
Yeah, everybody can take one a day, and you have plenty for a full family. So yeah, I love that. The 180 count.
He's recommending it. Wink, wink. Right? A little recommendation.
Well, it's also good for practitioners, so they can vary the dose as people are, going through their healing process. They may need more at times or less. So it gives a practitioner option to really work individually with the client or their patient. So next on the list, superbiotics.
One question about all the probiotics, Tracy, is, why don't you have it in a powder form, right? The reason we don't is that we've had that in the past. It's very difficult for the dosing, right?
Yeah, and the stability.
Yeah. So the nice thing with the capsule, you can always take them out of the cap. A couple of little clinical pearls. One is for any type of sores, blemishes. Actually, one of the clients in the wellness center years ago, he came in and he said, my wife has a little growth on her tongue. He said, I'm not sure what it is, but she won't come here. He said, what can I do? I said, you have the probiotics at home? Yeah. I said, take the capsule, put it on a little dish, a couple drops of water, make a paste, and apply it after you brush, floss, and rinse. Apply it right to the spot. He came back a week later and said it was gone. So it's very good at acute wounding of any healing of any wounds, especially in the mouth anywhere. So,
or any irritation, skin irritation. We've had moms use it for diaper rash. Same way, make a paste, put it right on the diaper rash. And again, moms that are breastfeeding can do the same thing. Make a little paste, put it right on the nipple, and bada bing, there you go.
All good tips, Joe. Thanks. So there's a question. I take Frontier Biotics at night. Is there a better time?
You can take it anytime. I always recommend probiotics first thing in the morning or last thing at night. Generally last thing at night, because a lot of digestion occurs when you're sleeping. Detoxification pathways occur then.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing to remember, because we like to keep them in the fridge after you open them. And that way you can take it at night before bed. It's right there, or first thing in the morning. I take my superbiotics first thing in the morning. It's the first thing I do after I wake up and pray. I take the superbiotics with some water. But it's never a bad time to take it.
There's no bad time. Just take it. I mean, I like it in the morning too. But Probzyme, I've had a lot of people take at night to prevent acid heartburn while they're sleeping. Right. So, yeah, all kind of times you can do it.
Yeah, and the other thing, what I learned from Dr. Judy Mikovits this week, I was talking to her about something, and she had mentioned that we always say the lymphatic system doesn't have a pump. She said, actually, it does. It's pumped by your brain. She said there are GPI, little nodes in the brain that actually pump the lymphatic system when you sleep. And she said, one of the best things that you can do is make sure you have a good deep sleep, but taking probiotics at night can help with lymphatic integrity and also communication to the brain. So good stuff. Yeah. I didn't know the lymphatic system had a pump. I always thought it wasn't. And she's like, nope, that's not true. I was like, okay, I stand corrected.
Well, some people still may not have a pump then, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that pump may be malfunctioning with a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next on, let me see, there's no more questions, so let's move to superbiotics.
So I look at the superbiotics as being more therapeutic. This is going to be 50 billion CFU. So we say CFU, it means colony forming units. It means a number of bacteria in there. And I know some companies promote hundreds of billions. The therapeutic dose is between 6 and 100 billion a day. That's why the Frontier has 6, and that's why the Super has 50.
Mm-hmm.
So who would you recommend that for? Anyone who has autoimmune conditions, chronic GI issues, have been on antibiotics, especially IV antibiotics, have been hospitalized, have had any type of infections, poor wound healing, diabetes. So for a lot of people out there, I recommend the superbiotics. Also yeast conditions, candida, skin issues, psoriasis, eczema. So when we need a stronger one, I bring in the superbiotics. That's the one I take every day. I notice that it definitely keeps the intestinal tract calmer and the waist smaller.
I think a lot of people can use it as a loading dose as well. You know, if you haven't been on a probiotic in years, well, maybe you haven't had an antibiotic, but you know, you're not eating all organic when it comes to your protein. So start with the superbiotics as a loading dose, and then you can move to the Frontier biotics after you get a good colonization going.
That's how I would always use them. And I also use these with our cleanses if people don't prefer SBC. You know, especially if you're doing a candida cleanse. I know some practitioners don't like to utilize SBC at the same time, which is fine, but not everybody has like high mycotoxin counts. So as you go out and you learn about, you know, your clients, that's why we have so many different options. There's something for everybody, truly. So then SBC.
Wait a minute, Tracy.
Yeah, go ahead.
The question also is, when somebody's on an antibiotic, can they take a probiotic?
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you normally tell them?
I tell them, yes, you should. It's kind of like taking a statin and taking Power Q. Like it's a should, you should. It's just about taking it at the appropriate time. So you have to mean anti means against, biotic means life. So antibiotics will kill everything, including good bacteria. So you want to replace that good bacteria so that your immune system can function in between the antibiotics. So taking a probiotic for life, I recommend either 2 hours before or 2 hours after. Just to make sure that you're restoring all that good flora. And I usually go with SBC, Joe, if somebody's on an antibiotic, because, you know, what I've learned from working here is we have a very special bifidobacterium in there that helps with repopulation. So, Jamie, can you tell us a little bit about that in SBC?
Yeah, that's a great point. So the SBC is Saccharomyces boulardii, plus we added in bifidobacterium BIO4. That's a specific bifidobacterium probiotic that was created by Gnosis, one of our partners, that also makes the quadrifolate and Imodium. So what Gnosis found is that's the number one probiotic you need to repopulate post-antibiotic therapy, right? Now, you may be out there saying, well, I don't take antibiotics. Well, if you eat out, use dairy products, commercially brand meats, things like that, you're being exposed to antibiotics on a daily basis.
That's right.
You may not realize it. In addition, we've all been on antibiotics at least once in our life. So if you've been on them, if you have yeast issues, chronic diarrhea, right, or post-antibiotic therapy, those are the 3 times I generally recommend the SBC. But like you had mentioned, Tracy, you know, that's the great thing about working with our team at Nutritional Frontiers. We have options for you. So if you like the Super better, use that. I find that works the best for me. If you like the Frontier, use that one. And if the SBC is your favorite, we have different options for you. They all do similar things, but they all have specific characteristics about them. So the Saccharomyces boulardii has been one of the most common probiotics you'll see in the formulated hospitals. Florastor has been around, oh God, for long as 25 years. So the Saccharomyces that we actually use in here, the Biotica, that actually been researched against Florastor, and with the research proved to be 20% more effective. So it's been proven to be one of the top Saccharomyces on the market. You combine that with the bifidobacterium, you get a 2-headed monster that's going to help you with the antibiotics. It's going to help you with diarrhea. And look, you don't have to travel internationally. I know the water is different.
Just go to a different city.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
If you go over the county line, the water is different. What about when you go to Florida? I love everything about Florida, but the chlorine smell in the water, you can smell it across the room.
No, you can't even brush your teeth in that water. I mean, it's terrible. But the thing about the Saccharomyces also that people need to know is that it binds to foodborne bacteria. So like Jamie said, if it's diarrhea or whatever, if it's foodborne bacteria, if you get a bad sushi, then you need some Saccharomyces because that will bind to it and help pass it out.
That's a really good point, Joe, because how many people have experienced food poisoning and they just have continual issues because of the dysbiosis that it creates. So the other thing that I read, and Joe, this one's for you because I learned this from you, is that 2/3 of the population have underlying H. pylori that stays, inactive because of good microflora. But what happens if it doesn't? And there's a little ingredient in our GI Complete, which we'll talk about next, the powder, that has zinc carnitine. So can you tell us a little bit about that specifically, and then we'll break down this formula, because this is, I think, one of our best.
Yeah, the zinc carnosine is probably the secret weapon in GI Complete. It's a phenomenal formula that Jamie spearheaded, taking 5 or 6 different formulas and putting them together in one powder that is just the Cadillac of all digestive formulations.
Is the product the same? The label looks different.
That's a nice new label, but
Looks
the product
fantastic.
is identical. Yes.
Good. I get that question a lot. And the original was raspberry. The new
Yes.
lemon lime is the new one.
And we have both, so you can pick your flavor. Something we always do at Nutritional Frontiers is try to eliminate flavor fatigue.
Oh, so many people are suffering with that one.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. So the zinc carnosine, it's been used in many countries as a frontline therapy for peptic ulcers. And we know that H. pylori plays a part there. So this is one of
many people don't know that. That was the thing, is that many people just think that it's stress, right? Well, stress caused my ulcer. But what happens during stress? You lose your microbiome, you get dysbiosis, that H. pylori pops up, and all of a sudden you have ulcers. So I don't think a lot of people are aware. And until I started working behind the scenes with NF, I was like, wow, that's amazing. So, and then you taught me that. So.
Yeah, so it's a combination of 2 healing nutrients, zinc and L-carnosine. And I think that the reason it's so powerful is L-carnosine has been shown by itself to actually prolong the life of genes. So it's been used in the anti-aging market for a long time by itself. And combining it with zinc, which is a great healing nutrient. You see topicals with zinc all the time. But it does have a healing capacity. You combine it with zinc carnosine, and that is a frontline defense. And this is my favorite GI product because you have to, I feel, repair before you can do anything else. And we've got docs like Dr. Len that use this as a baseline formula for every single patient they see, because they know every one of their patients has some kind of gastric deterioration. There's something in the mucosa somewhere along the line that's irritated and damaged. So they use this as a front line formula.
And you had mentioned that the zinc carnosine they put in so many foods throughout the world. In Japan, they put it in everything, including chewing gum.
Yeah.
Right. So this is used throughout the world as a first line of defense against peptic ulcers and stress. Remember, when stress goes up, healing mechanism of the intestinal tract goes down. So you're at much greater risk for bacteria overgrowth, right? Yeast, candida, funguses. Also, the other thing to realize is that villi, that hair-like substance on top of the muscle in the intestinal tract, bacteria like to chew that away. And when that intestinal tract gets exposed, now it becomes more porous, and you're open now for things like leaky gut, dysbiosis, and now, quote-unquote, autoimmune conditions. So the zinc carnosine, when you look at the research that's published on this, the interesting thing is that it'll reduce peptic ulcers by almost 50% by itself. A lot of companies recommend this as a standalone formula. Not us, because we want the synergy of all the nutrients together. But that molecular structure, what it does to that wounded intestinal tract, think about if you had a scrape on your hand. Your intestinal tract can have that scrape or that abrasion, or maybe be severe where it's an ulcer. The zinc carnosine molecule will attach right to that wounded site. It begins to detoxify, kill off the bacteria and cleanse it at a rapid rate. So when you have peptic ulcers, colitis, Crohn's, autoimmune, whatever they want to call it, the zinc in there will actually bind and detoxify and begin the healing of that tissue a lot sooner. It's like cleaning out a cut. That's what the zinc carnosine will do. And the zinc, as we know, is a healing catalyst. So that's just one ingredient there. The main power of that formula is the zinc carnosine, but also the L-glutamine. When you look at amino acids in muscle tissue, 70% of them are glutamine. It's like having overdraft protection in your checking account, right? So when you have the glutamine inside the muscle, that's why bodybuilders use it. That's why athletes use it. That's why runners use it, football players. So many different athletes will use glutamine because when you take glutamine, the muscles will heal at a much more rapid rate. So why for the intestinal tract? It helps cool down and begins the healing mechanism of the intestinal tract wall. Because your intestinal tract is muscle.
It's muscle. I was just going to say that. Yeah,
so when you have colitis, that means that tissue has been inflamed to the point that it's starting to break down. Diverticulitis means you have potholes. You actually have holes in there. Diverticulosis, and those things will actually start to get impacted with fecal matter. That's why you need something to cool it down, to heal it, detoxify it, and rebuild it. So those are two of the key nutrients.
Oh, yeah. It's loaded with other soothing nutrients like marshmallow and
slippery elm,
right? Aloe. So it's a powerful formula.
That's Mike Gallagher texting me. Don't forget DMG.
DMG, of course he is.
We know, Mike.
Of course he is. But, I'll tell you another thing, a nice clinical pro about this formula is that if you know anybody that's on a blood thinner and they're experiencing bleeding, especially rectal bleeding, this formula will help that and stop it. I've seen it happen and on many anecdotal cases, and I had family members that used it for that reason. They're on blood thinners. They had cardiovascular surgery up in their 80s. They're older. And the blood thinners, of course, exasperate the bleeding, right? I put them on GI Complete, and it stops the bleeding. So this is a powerful formula.
Of all the places to bleed, the anal bleeding, the rectal bleeding has got to be the worst. It's just telling us what's really going on.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have intestinal damage and may not even realize it, right? So it's a great formula overall. You get some positive side effects of healing muscle tissue throughout the body.
That's true.
It also has an interesting ingredient called the rabinogalacticin. Some people call it inulin, some call it a prebiotic. But this has been proven, Tracy, in all the research, to double the number of immune cells in your intestinal tract. Who doesn't want that? That's why,
especially now that people aren't thinking of the digestive system as part of the immune system, but it's the core of it.
Yeah, and they're getting a lot of misinformation, right? Oftentimes I just had a family member go to the doctor and, they want to do some extra testing and right away they want to put them on prednisone.
Of course.
Right? Then they want to put them on immunosuppressant drugs, right? I said, well, you really need is the fiber. Oh, no, they told me no fiber. I said, of all foods to pick on. Now, I understand because it may be tough for them to break it down because your intestinal tract is so weak. They don't have any enzymes or probiotics. They don't have all those nutrients in there to break it down.
Right. So,
folks, you got to look at it from a logical point of view. Don't look at the cure. The cure is not immunosuppressant drugs, but the cause of it. The cause is that your intestinal tract has been eroded, just like if your grass is eroded in your backyard, right? Maybe it was the kids played on it. You had a trampoline covering it. The grass has been damaged, just like in the intestinal tract. You need to protect it. You need to feed it. You need to water it. You need to nurture it back to health, and it takes some time to regenerate because that muscle will grow back. The villi will grow out, so you actually have a filter to filter out all the things that shouldn't be in your bloodstream, and that's what autoimmune is. Mm-hmm. Things actually are getting into the blood that shouldn't be there. Think of grandma's screen, right?
Right.
On the screen door. It would keep out the bugs but allow the air in. The intestinal tract is the same way.
And it's letting nutrients out while it's letting bacteria in.
Oh, even worse, right? Now you drink or eat cheese, it's undigested, it gets in the bloodstream, and boom, the immune system is turned on. That's what autoimmune is in a quick snapshot. I know it's a very complex issue. However, it can be really simply defined as that. You're getting things in the bloodstream. It's turning on the immune system, which is going to have side effects of inflammation. However, if we can get those things to not go in the blood, think about the effects you can have there.
Here's a great question on GI Complete. Ready, Tracy? Is it safe for kids? Yes, it's safe.
Well, actually, I had a practitioner call me today and had a little boy that was 2. And, you know, basically the mom had him on a pretty heavy paleo diet. And I was like, and he had eczema all over his body. So initially, you know, GI. And I was like, maybe let's look at liver. I was like, maybe he's overwhelmed. So GI Complete, though, was, you know, one of the foundational supplements that we'll recommend, because regardless if it's too much protein or not enough, you know, still that digestive system was getting beat up because he was 2 years old. He probably wasn't chewing it appropriately. And he probably had some leaky gut issues. So yes, it's very safe for kids, and actually kids love it. So it's a very easy thing for parents to give because it really tastes good. That, along with our UT cleanse, not to go off the GI trail here, but I literally, my 7-year-old will drink UT cleanse all day long. He loves it, and he'll ask for it just because it tastes so good. So I like those options for my kids, the pro colors, things in powders like that are easy to give. The kids will drink them. I don't get any arguments about it. And I think for compliancy as a practitioner, when you're working with somebody else's kids, it really helps. You know, it really helps that healing pathway when somebody will actually do what you ask them, especially a child. So, you know, very grateful for all the delivery systems and the incredible flavors. I know that product development works so hard on this. We test everything. We make sure that it passes the test. And that usually ends up with Zach. If Zach likes it, then we usually say, okay.
One person we don't let taste it is Michaela. She don't like anything.
Right. Michaela's out. No, I'm just kidding. No, but this has been extremely informative. I don't think we give enough attention to our GI formulas just because, you know, it's kind of not the big and bad sexy thing, but it is still the top 4 medications that are prescribed in the United States or over the counter. And, you know, one of the big statistics I remember was that over 200,000 people die a year of gastrointestinal complications. So either from over-medicating or under-medicating. So there is a better way. You know, it starts with foundational principles and then using the right supplements at the right time and at the right doses. Yeah, that's the other thing. People get scared of this stuff, right, Jamie?
Yeah, I think what happens is I think a lot of people just accept it as normal, right? I was just talking to one of my friends. He's a trainer. One of his clients, he says, can you help? Because this isn't just a regular weight loss. This guy's stomach is sticking so far out. So the guy called me. He says, oh, I look great everywhere. My shoulders, my arms, my legs. He says, but my stomach at times looks like I'm pregnant, right? And I said, well, let's talk about your diet, right? Everyone's diet's perfect until we start asking them questions, right? So I sent him up the probiotics, superbiotics, GI Complete. I told him to take the probiotic every morning, take GI Complete and sip it during the day and maybe another scoop at night. And I said, take probes on, just take them like Tic Tacs all day. Just take them all day long. Take 2 here, take 2 there. And within 3-4 days, he's starting to feel results, right? So folks, don't accept the bloating, the pain, the autoimmune conditions, the skin rashes, the diarrhea, the constipation, all those things as being normal. It's not normal. And if somebody tells you that there is no cure for it, that means they can't cure you. We're not going to make any claims, but we can find out what the cause is. Too many times people are told they have an autoimmune condition. It's hereditary. It's not your fault, Joe. Mm-hmm. You had nothing to do with it. It doesn't matter what you ate, drank, or stress. And there's no cure. So we're going to start you out with NSAIDs until it gets really bad. Then we'll bring in the immunosuppressive drugs like sulfasalazine, methotrexate. Well, doc, why don't you bring those in now? They're too dangerous. Well, why won't they be too dangerous later? Because you're going to be so sick. Right. They're already telling you they can't help you. Think about the logic. If that was your car and you took them in for brakes and the guy said, "Hey, Joe, I'm going to work on the brakes, but I can't fix them. So when it gets really bad, pull the emergency brake. And when it gets really bad, just drive into a tree." I mean, come on. It's insane. You wouldn't do it.
No, you wouldn't do it. I mean,
so you got to find the person that's going to help you. And just because you're a doctor doesn't mean they're great or bad. If they can't help you, go somewhere else. And just because it's a natural practitioner, they may not be able to help you. If you need help finding someone, call us at Nutritional Frontiers. Dr. Tracy can work with you. The Wine and Wellness Center can. We have hundreds or thousands of doctors throughout the country. We can match you up with the right person who's going to help you address it. We have a lot of free education right on our website. And there's no reason not to be at optimal health in this day and age. There's no reason.
I think the whole issue is this word, cure. We're not curing anything, but if you eliminate the cause, what happens? Things change. You feel better. And you're, that's, everybody's looking for that cure. I hate that. But, the other thing is, you're right with everybody saying it's normal. Well, if you've got someone, pushing the little purple pill like Larry the Cable Guy out there who will tell you on the commercial, just take this and eat anything you want. That's what I do. Well, we don't want to look like you. First of all, Larry, okay, you're not the picture of health, but that's the advice people are getting, right? They're getting it all over the airwaves and from their doctors. So there is an alternative. Get to the cause.
Yeah, and the other thing to remember is that these things usually don't just happen like an accident or a trauma, right?
Right.
The guy said the other day to me, "Well, I've been eating cheese all my life."
Well, now it's starting.
I said, "Well, I think you ate too much. Like, there's a time to say, okay, let me try something different, right?" And Dr. Weiner taught us years ago, anything can cause anything.
Right.
You got to be open minds, because minds are like a parachute, Joe. When do they work?
Only when it's open. See how we work together like that? It's like
I love it. I just sit back and, answer questions on the chat. This is a very relaxing hour, and I get to learn and spend time with two of my favorite people. So I really appreciate all your knowledge and wisdom. I'd like to just let everybody know that the Weiner Wellness Center is having another event in May. So we'd like to invite you all to join the Weiner Wellness Virtual Summit. It'll be May 8th through the 15th, and a lot of tremendous speakers coming back. We have Judy Mikovits coming back. I believe Michelle Kunzelman is coming back. So we're going to see how she's doing after COVID, now that she's been out for a few months, and, to see if there's any validity to this Lancet article. Also, we have some new speakers coming in, so I hope you can join us, live stream with us, stop in. And Joe, as the manager of the Weiner Wellness Center, will you be open?
Open? We'll have both doors open, front and back. Come on in. We've got some surprises for you too. We're going to be announcing those very shortly in the next few days. Keep your eyes and ears open. A lot of people ask me
what happened to the food.
The food. Well, we're going to fix that. And you know what? We're not just going to bring back food. We're going to do it bigger and better than ever.
I can't wait.
Stay tuned. It's coming back.
So, a lot of great speakers. Don't forget to register for the professional training event, April 10th, hosted by Nutritional Frontiers. It is in Pittsburgh, and we are going to be doing live stream, and you can get the playback recording. So get your formulations here. If you're a healthcare practitioner, it's very easy to sign up with us. You simply go to nutritionalfrontiers.com and you click create an account, and we will get you all set up with a wholesale account and a custom care package for you so that you can experience a lot of our very unique formulations. So thank you guys for being here. Thanks for being awesome. And we'll see everybody next month.
It's over already?
It's over already.
Thanks so much, Dr. Tracy. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, everyone out there. We appreciate all support. Have a great day, and God bless.
All right, guys. God bless. Thank you.